Power plays. Welcome to another power plays. Man, I want y'all to take a look at this SPY chart. I want y'all to take a good look at this SPY chart. Look at this here. What do we have here? SPY done closed the gap all the way down. All the way down. SPY done closed the gap all the way down. And look what we got. Mm-mm-mm. So let's just jump into it. Let's look at the chart from yesterday. Bam! Mm-mm-mm. I can safely say with absolute certainty that SPY absolutely blew through all of the puts. So if you accidentally bought puts yesterday, you should have seen hold up, let me make sure I say that correctly. If you absolutely bought puts anytime before 11 o'clock a.m. on the East Coast, then you definitely made you you should have been done about before lunch. Look at the look what SPY do. It ran up. All the way to hit 680. Now in the pre-market, it was operating up here. It had reached that pre-market high of 684. So we had some projections based off, but it started to go downhill later in the pre-market, right before the market opened. 677. That's a previous day's pre-market low. It ran up and then it started to go down. But right up in here, 10:15 to 11:05, all the way down to 1 o'clock. If you bought puts in any of these areas, you should have did extremely well, no matter what you did when you bought those puts. As you can see, the chart, it was gone, man. It blows through all of the put sides, so I guess we can take some credit for it, but man, it went all the way through that. It never even got back to those pre-market levels. As a matter of fact, by the time the pre-market was over, it had already blown through most of these numbers, and it's crazy. But it was a good day overall. So here we go. Let's look at what we got for today. See what we got for today. All right. That 670 to 681 range yesterday was some crazy work. Right now the high for this morning was 671.51 and got a low of 666.52. But since I even made that chart, it actually don't went lower than that. So right now it's a bearish market. It's heavy in the bears, and if you're gonna play anything other than that, go against the trend. Be careful. It was some gaps that it had to fill going down. It actually closed those gaps, but be very careful. But this is what we're gonna look at for today. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I wouldn't. I mean, I'm looking at these calls based on my chart and my projections. I wouldn't buy any calls anywhere near anywhere right now until I see a good strong close um above probably 671. And that's a big move back up, but I would be very hard pressed to do it and put my stop loss at 670.80 with a target At that point, I would target 673, 674.50, and 676. Because at that point, it'll be done reclaimed a whole bunch of that ground that it lost. And I mean, to each his own, but I have to see something crazy up there. For the Bears, right now, with it still sitting around the 666, the high this morning was 671.51 so far. But what I usually try to do, the way I try to play it is I wait for a retest up into that area and then pull back. So that's why I have that range right there at 670.90 to 671.40 for the entry. And then if it rejects after it gets up that way in that area, then it's a, you can know you're going to get a pullback because it got to go back and retest the lows that it came from. That's usually how the market works. And that's how a lot of people go about projecting the market when you're using certain ways to trade. And so if that's the case, my target would be then would be back down to 669, 668, and 666. And that to me, that's just the waiting on the retracement, from where the low of this morning come back up and retrace back down. So that's what that is. So that's how I'm going to play that. When you're on these big pull downs too, if you haven't gotten in already, you want to be very careful about when you get in and how you enter because you want to be able to see because there's a lot going on. So you don't want to go about trying to predict the reversal because a lot of people lost a lot of money trying to predict that reversal. So my opening focus is going to be in this range, the pre-market range, 666.50 up to 671.50. And I'm looking for a 5-minute candle to close strong with a little bit more momentum in the right direction. But even if it's going up, I'm going to be very careful buying calls with this type of pullback, especially on a Friday. Friday can be very volatile, a lot of up and down, so I'm going to be very careful. With this trend as strong as it is, be very careful. This is almost a $20 drop in the SPY since yesterday morning, during this time. So that is a big drop. It's a lot of momentum, a lot of selling pressure, a lot of profit taking. So we'll see. But we'll go into it. And if it goes back there, we'll look at 669, 668, and 666. And I'm going to scale out in between each one of those levels. That's my trade strategy for the day. With the SPY, I just, with all this downward momentum, anything going up, I'm going to be very careful about. But, this is just my opinion. This is not financial advice. If you have a plan, execute and trade with your plan, and that usually helps and keeps you consistent. So that's what you should be focusing on. And then what we'll do is we'll see what the SPY does. Play it safe. It's Friday, end of the week. You should have had a good week already if you're following the chart. And if you like what you see in this video and anything help you, please like, share, and subscribe. And then if you want to see and be a part of our group at Power Plays, come on over and join our Discord at Power Plays Discord and, trade with the guys. Right now, you can get in and come over and trade with us. We have a special going on. This will be a link in the description. So come on in and check it out. And once again, this is Power Plays Palace. And it's a Friday. Enjoy your weekend and get some money today. We out.